I promise you this. I'm going to give this one 4 just win babies. The Raiders are guaranteed to add a quarterback early in free agency, whether that be signing a QB, whether that be trading a quarterback. Mark my words, I promise you, the Raiders are going to add a QB very early because they have to. For those that do not know, NFL free agency starts March 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and the legal tampering period begins 48 hours prior to start of free agency. I believe the Raiders are going to have a quarterback, and everybody amongst the nation is going to know who the QB that the Silver and Black bring in by March 12th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. If you like that take, if you don't, hey man, I'm going to be here no matter what. We're always about pumping out that content for the nation. Make sure you click that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications are on, because when the Raiders do add that QB, I'm going to be going live, and it's going to be a party. If you're like Mitch, who are some of the options out there for the Las Vegas Raiders? I would say right now, these are just the top 10 options of most likely quarterbacks that the Raiders could potentially add this offseason. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to call your shot. I'm sitting up here telling you the Raiders are 100% going to add a quarterback. They're going to add a quarterback before the draft. Book it. You can bet your house on it. It's going to happen. So who should the Raiders add? Should they add a Sam Darnold? Maybe a Geno Smith? Maybe a Matthew Stafford could be a name to throw out there. I want you to call your shot. Let me know down below who's going to be the quarterback the Raiders add this offseason. So what we're going to get into now here on today's show is this. I am going to outline why the Raiders are 100% guaranteed 4 just win babies of adding a QB. The biggest reason why they're going to do it, it's their biggest need, almost like SpongeBob needs water. It's their biggest need, and they have to do it early. The reason why you got to address this from the jump is because as it stands right now, you don't have a starter on your roster. Aiden O'Connell's not a starter. Gardner Minshew's not a starter. You're going to move on from Minshew, and the fact that Aiden is just a backup, NFL teams know that. Tom Brady knows that. Pete Carroll knows that. Chip Kelly knows it. John Spytek. These are very smart individuals, and they know that the biggest need for the Raiders is at the quarterback position. The other reason why the Raiders are going to have a quarterback on their team before March 12th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time is for other NFL free agents. We got to be able to face the facts here. There is not going to be a big-name free agent that signs with the Raiders unless we have a proven quarterback on our team. Signing a quarterback early proves to every other big-name free agent, because here's what happens every free agency. The best players sign on the day, the very first day. Whoever teams are looking at as their top priority, for the Raiders last year, the top priorities were Christian Wilkins and Gardner Minshew. But there's no way that Christian Wilkins is going to sign with a team like the Raiders unless we have a legit quarterback under center, unless you overpay. And there was a lot of people that thought the Raiders overpaid for Wilkins last year, which I was okay with because we need to be able to build in the trenches. But players are going to want to know who the Raiders quarterback is before they sign a long-term deal with us, on top of the fact that our coach is 74 and there has to be a little bit of stability going forward. No good free agent, unless they overpay, is going to want to sign if Aiden O'Connell is the starting quarterback of the Raiders. Yeah, unless if Aiden's the starter, no big-name guy's going to want to come here. So because of that, if you want to recruit the best free agents, you need to sign a quarterback. You need to get a quarterback early, and that's why they're going to do it. I got more reasons coming up here why the Raiders are 100% going to add a quarterback early in the free agency process. Before I get into it, though, huge, and I mean huge, shout out to ZBiotics for always allowing us to keep the good times a-rolling. We're not afraid to have a good time, and I know the nation isn't afraid to have a good time either. So let's face it, after a night with drinks, you don't bounce back the next day like you used to. That is, until I found ZBiotics, because I can either have a great night or a great next day. Pre-alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's the blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So stay in the loop and go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. You can also scan the QR code on the screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code chatsports at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription using my code so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/chatsports and use the code chatsports at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this episode of the Raiders Report and keeping the good times going. Let's go to the next reason why the Raiders are going to add a quarterback. It's all part of Tom Brady's plan. If y'all don't think that Tom Brady right now is dotting I's and crossing T's on his plan, then you haven't watched what the Raiders have done this offseason. If Brady wants something, he's getting it this offseason, and it's been that way. And he clearly has a plan for this offseason. And Brady believes in allowing a quarterback to develop for a year or two behind a veteran. When you listen to Tom Brady, and he talked about this probably back in August, he said his plan of what he believes it takes for a quarterback to be successful in the NFL. He talked about allowing a rookie to sit for a year or two to learn and understand the NFL, to learn and understand the system before being thrown out there. Knowing that, and knowing that Aiden O'Connell's not going to be the starter, knowing Gardner Minshew's not going to be the starter, that tells me that if they draft somebody, they're going to sit. If they draft a Shador, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Will Howard, whoever the hell it is, that quarterback's going to sit for a year, and then whatever QB that they decide to bring in is going to get the reins for a year or two. That's been the Raiders' plan. And if I know that that's the Raiders' plan at QB, and if the Raiders are executing all their coaching staff plans and everything they've done this offseason, why would they deviate from the plan now? They're going to go out and they're going to add a quarterback. What's one way that you also can tell that they're going to do it? Actions speak louder than words. And all of the actions that they have made from a coaching staff standpoint indicate this is going to be a team that either signs a quarterback or trades a quarterback. They go out, they hire Pete Carroll, who has a phenomenal track record with veteran and young quarterbacks, both of them. He's been able to get Geno Smith to work. He's also been able to find a third-round pick in Russell Wilson, which is kind of the thing that I think that the Raiders might try to do in the offseason and during the draft. Spytech has done wonders with veteran quarterbacks. Helped Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. Also helped Baker Mayfield throw for 41 touchdowns last season. Chip Kelly, they made him the highest paid OC in the NFL. Ohio State was paying him $2 million a year, a place that he just won the Natty at. They gave him 3 times the amount of money. It wasn't to work with Aiden O'Connell. It was to work with a quarterback that they're going to go out and they're going to invest a lot in this offseason. And it's also to invest in the quarterback that's going to learn underneath that bridge QB. For those who do not know and haven't seen, this is the Raiders' complete coaching staff list. I put this on my YouTube channel. I put it on my social media, at MitchellRents365. But when you look at this coaching staff, okay, from head coach, offense, defense, special teams, a lot of new names on this list. My question to you is here. A, B, C, D, or F. How would you grade this Raiders coaching staff? A, it's amazing. B, it's great. C, it's good. D, it's bad. F, it's a big old fat fail. My answer is going to be right after this YouTube ad break, so I do want you to scroll on down, get your answers in, because I'm not going to lie, I'm fired up about this Raiders coaching staff, which is why I'm going to give it an A. This is my favorite Raiders coaching staff since I've covered the team, and I'm not going to, it's not even close, dude. I said last year Antonio Pierce-Telesco was a C grade. McDaniels and Ziegler, I gave that one a big old fat F. John Gruden and Mike Mayock, I had that as a C as well, if I can truly honestly remember the grade that I gave them. I love this because you keep Patrick Graham, you keep Rob Leonard, you go out and get a great X's and O's guy in Chip Kelly, and all because he's great with X's and O's, the one thing he was lacking was being a people's person. You'll get probably the number one people's person that you could get a head coach that's got Super Bowl caliber experience, that's not going to be intimidated to sit at a table with Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and Andy Reid. And then on top of that, you also go out and you bring in John Spytek, who has won a Super Bowl with Tom Brady, who's been able to work magic with a lot of quarterbacks out there. I love this Raiders coaching staff. Let's go to the final reason here of why the Raiders are guaranteed 4 just win babies, 100% going to either sign or trade for a quarterback this offseason. They don't want to trade up. I'm telling all of y'all right now, the Raiders do not want to trade up for a QB. I legitimately think the only quarterback that they would even entertain the idea for in round 1 is Cam Ward. I don't think they're going to trade up for Shador. When I also say trade up, they might trade up, like if they want to get in the back end of round 1, maybe for a Jackson Dart or something like that. But at the number 6 pick, you're not guaranteed to get a quarterback. And Mark Davis, I'm just telling you, has made it very clear to this regime, we can't have happen what happened last year. And I know the Raiders signed a quarterback in Gardner Minshew, but we all knew that that wasn't a good move. And the moment they did it, I was like, why the hell are the Raiders doing this? Because the Raiders don't want to get trapped in, if we don't get our quarterback in the draft, we're screwed again. They're going to take a QB. The Raiders also know that they're going to go out and they're going to get their guy, which means going out and getting a QB usually costs a lot of dollars and cents. If you spend a lot of money on a QB, it means you can't allocate a lot of that other free agency money on other players that you could potentially sign, which makes it even more critical then that you keep the amount of draft picks that you're going to keep to fill some of those depth position spots that you couldn't fill in free agency because you're going to lose 28 players this offseason. I believe the Raiders are going to try to do their job and bring back a lot of faces on that defense. That's why they kept Rob Leonard. It's why they kept Patrick Graham. And then on offense, they're going to go out there and they're going to spend. They're going to build that offensive free agency, and then they're going to keep a lot of those draft picks to kind of plug and play some of those other guys. So here we go. The Raiders, I'm telling you, are guaranteed to add a quarterback early in the free agency period. Why? It's their biggest need. NFL free agents need to know who that quarterback is for the Raiders, or else why the hell would they sign with Las Vegas? Nobody wants to play with Aiden O'Connell, and nobody's going to want to sign a long-term deal with an organization that doesn't have a proven quarterback. Tom Brady's plan has been going out, getting a bridge QB, letting whoever the Raiders draft learn for a year or two behind that guy. The coaching staff that was assembled from Pete Carroll, John Spytek, Chip Kelly, all scream, we're going to add a veteran quarterback, and we're going to have that QB then also learn and teach that rookie. And then the final reason, they don't want to trade up. They want to keep those draft picks. Doing all this is how this Raiders team plans on winning in 2025.